nombre del Padre, el Hijo y el Espíritu Santo. Amén. Padre nuestro que estás en el cielo, santificado sea tu nombre. Venga los frutos tu reino y hágase tu voluntad, así en la tierra como en el cielo. Danos hoy nuestro pan de cada día y perdona nuestras ofensas como también nosotros perdonamos que nos ofenden. No nos dejes caer en tentación y líbranos del mal. Amén. Dios te salve María, llena eres de gracias. El Señor está contigo y bendita tú eres entre todas las mujeres. Bendito es el fruto que tu vientre Jesús. Santa María, Madre de Dios, ruega por nosotros el pecadores, ahora y en la hora de nuestra muerte. Amén. Por el Padre, el Hijo y el Espíritu Santo. Amén.
This documentary is about the many ways that the people of the southern region of el Valle de San Luis practice their spiritual faith, beginning with the Stations of the Cross in San Luis and how it was inspired, to the history of the oldest church in Colorado, located in the small town of Conejos. This documentary will also show how the communities of San Luis, Capulin, and San Antonio commemorate Holy Week, including the Penitente Brotherhood, pilgrimages, and old customs as told by its people.
In 1986, we remodeled our centuries-old church in San Luis. And it was such a wonderful success of the people just again coming together to do this very large project that after they were done, they wanted to keep going. So some of the men start talking about building a shrine, building the Stations of the Cross. And I wondered, why are they insisting on the Stations of the Cross? And it wasn't until later that it dawned on me that they were reflecting deep aspirations, historical aspirations of the love of the Passion of Jesus that had been passed on from generation to generation. Because the Penitentes have a tremendous love of the Stations of the Cross. It's one of their main forms of prayer. And so for that reason, it was the men of the parish that insisted that we build a shrine. And so little by little, it just took a life of its own. There was a local man who was born and raised here, Hermano Maestas, living in Colorado Springs, that I contracted with to make the bronzes. But it was the community itself who made the trail, women who helped plant flowers, families who bought the individual bronze stations, and so that's how it all took place. Something that was very organic, something that was very non-structured, that just happened. In the faith community, historically, there were very few priests, leadership, and so they depend upon the leadership of the Penitentes. This tradition, this practice came from New Mexico. It was the institution that the Franciscan priests had left in New Mexico. When the people moved up from New Mexico into our valleys, they brought back the same institution of the Penitentes. They passed the faith on from family to family. It was religious. They would take care of burying the dead, take care of doing the services on Sunday, during Lent, of conducting services led by these lay men. And also they had the charitable or the social part of taking care of the poor, of widows, of people in need. And so it's with this tradition of taking care of each other that is very admirable and so important among our community. Otherwise, we would not have survived.
When it came for time for them to go in silence, it was just the man that would go inside the morada and pray. And nobody else could go in there, not even their wives could go in there. It was just the man that would go in there. And then when it would be time for them to go out and eat, The women would come in and set the tables for them.
When it comes to Holy Week, we didn't even eat no meat starting from Wednesday till Saturday 1 o'clock. And at that same time, see, we could not even chop wood. We could not say, because at that time they say that anytime that you knock or something like that, you were hurting Jesus Christ.
On Thursday night, the hermanos from the Morada, they would attend Mass, Holy Thursday Mass in Conejos, and a lot of the members would have their feet washed by the priest, symbolizing the Last Supper. And then also the church would have an all-night vigil, and a lot of the hermanos, or they would leave after Mass, but then they would come back like around midnight, and of course they'd come into the church in a procession, and they'd be singing, and then they'd be praying, and they'd make a visit there.
During the Lent, every Friday, we come in and pray the Station of the Cross and the Rosary at night until the Semana Santa, like now, for 3 days. Holy Thursday, Wednesday, Holy Thursday, and Holy Friday. And then Saturday morning, we do it again, we pray the Rosary. Well, in Alba, we sleep here tonight. We stay overnight over here, we take care of the Morada, and of course, sometimes we get tired, and so we sleep a little while until about 6 o'clock in the morning. We do the Alba. The Alba is something that we do every year. We sing, and we do hymns and things like that, and then we pray the Rosary.
The tinieblas represents la respiración del Señor when Christ died, when the rocks and the wind or whatever happened, what happened at that time when Christ died, the earthquakes and the eclipse and all that, when Christ died, that's what the tinieblas are, and that's what the matracas represent, the noise of the thunder and the rocks rolling and all that stuff according to what the Bible says.
The Encuentro, as it's celebrated today in San Antonio, comes out of a tradition from the Penitente Brotherhood that goes back a couple of hundred years. I first experienced the Encuentro at a Morada that's over in Huérfano County. And so it's common to the tradition. I don't know for sure how long they've been doing it as they're now doing it in San Antonio. But the tradition, it comes out of the Bible. It's the meeting of Mary and Jesus on the way as Jesus is going to Calvary. And so Jesus is carrying the cross, and then along the way he meets Mary. And you can imagine the sort of feelings and the intensity of emotion that would have been a part of that meeting. In San Antonio, one group starts at the Morada, and the other group starts at the church. The group coming from the church carries an almost life-size statue of Mary. And the group that's coming from the Morada carries an almost life-size statue of Jesus that are very beautiful. They're dressed in clothes, and they are carried to a midpoint where the two of them meet. And then there is dialogue read, and the dialogue is in Spanish.
Tiene que pasar, no llores, mi tierna madre.
Hijo de mi corazón, hijo querido del cielo.
And it is poetry, more or less. And it's dialogue between Mary and Jesus. And then after that, after the meeting, then both groups together return to the Morada, and together they pray the Stations of the Cross, which again is all in Spanish, and it's accompanied by the singing of some of the traditional alabados, the ancient hymnody that the brothers have preserved over the years.
The brothers of the Morada make a lifetime commitment when they join the Penitentes. It isn't something to be taken lightly. According to Charlie Martinez, who has belonged to the Morada in San Antonio for 52 years and is now the Hermano Mayor, this is a sacred pledge. The brothers also promise not to reveal information about the rituals and customs of the Penitentes that are not open to the public. For this reason, they are offended when they see such information written about in books and articles. They know this means that someone was not true to his pledge and divulged information that should not have been shared. It's probably not possible to appreciate the tradition, history, and spirituality of the Penitente brothers simply by reading about them. In fact, it's more likely that they will be misunderstood from the descriptions found in print. One only understands them by praying the way of the cross with them, walking with them on Good Friday for the Encuentro, participating in the dark night hours in the ritual of tinieblas, and learning to love the music of the alabados. Not many men join the group these days, at least not in Colorado. It's possible that their attitude of humility contributes to the lack of new members because they don't brag about themselves, their organization, or its work. They prefer to let example speak for itself and keep their love of God quietly in their hearts.